Welcome to the TIF podcast. This is episode 11. So we're just bringing you a what I would consider as a bonus story. So basically, Real Madrid were knocked out of the Champions League, as we all know, and it was a severe blow for them, and they're not doing particularly well in the league at the moment as well. I believe they are being pipped by Atletico Madrid as well as Barcelona in that title race over there. But the Champions League defeat, or being knocked out of the Champions League, has made the whole situation worse. So of course we know Perez, the Real Madrid president, loves success. He loves a Galactico team and all that sort of stuff. So now, obviously, Solari, who's the manager, who was recently instated at Real Madrid, has been sacked. Okay, so obviously reports were surfacing when they were knocked out of the Champions League that he was definitely going to get dismissed. The replacement, we didn't know who the replacement was going to be. Reports were also suggesting that it may certainly be Jose Mourinho, but shock surprise, it's ended up being Zinedine Zidane. So what an absolute shock, in my opinion. Weren't expecting Zidane to be going back to Real Madrid, in my opinion. He's ended up going back, and essentially I can't see this ending very well. Zidane has put out a statement saying he's very happy to be back home after returning to Real Madrid after just 10 months after leaving the Spanish Giants. The Frenchman replaces Santiago Solari, who was sacked after less than 5 months in charge. Former Real Madrid midfielder Zidane, 46, who left in May after leading the club to a third straight Champions League trophy, has agreed to take over until 2022. So he signed a significant contract with the club as well. Why did he leave initially? He could have just stayed on and obviously developed the team that was in place. Are the issues that he left in regards to prior, have they been straightened out? Or part of the deal of him returning is the issues will get rectified? I don't know, but I can't see this ending very well. Real Madrid are currently lying third in La Liga, 12 points behind leaders Barcelona. A statement was put out by Perez, or a snippet from his statement. The statement reads: the best manager in the world has rejoined the club. So he believes obviously Zidane is the best manager. Our destinies are once again united. Solari's last match as manager was a 4-1 win over Real Valladolid on Sunday, which followed a shock Champions League exit to Ajax, as we all know. That 4-1 defeat and 5-3 on aggregate loss to the Dutch side was the final straw for Perez, and he'd obviously had enough and he wanted to get rid of him. So of course Zidane done absolutely amazing things for Real Madrid during his time there. 3 Champions League trophies back to back. That's unheard of. Fantastic achievement in my personal opinion, but I don't see that the things that he left, or the issues why he left initially, would have been rectified. Have they agreed to bring in Eden Hazard? Because we do know that Zidane is a huge admirer of Eden Hazard, but it's an extremely weird and interesting story. Of course, we will certainly wait and see how it develops. Is he going to pick them up for the rest of the season? Are they going to end up winning the title? I don't know, but it's going to be an extremely interesting one. So we're just going to take a quick break, and we'll come back. We'll talk about the Birmingham fan who attacked Jack Grealish on the pitch, and we'll give you an update on that particular story. We'll be back shortly after this break. So, I love creating content in general. As you may all know, I've recently started this TIF podcast. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from a podcast? Which is one of the key questions people tend to ask themselves before they take the plunge to actually starting a podcast. The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free, and it's ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this. Basically, I love using Anchor. It's an extremely easy app to use. First of all you need to do is just download the app either on iOS or Android. I personally use it on Android. Register, which takes literally less than 1 minute. Once you've registered, you are ready to go. All you need to do is set up your profile and hit the record button. You've got multiple resources available to you in the form of background music, jingles, etc. You name it. So if you always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Welcome back to the TIF podcast. This is part 2 of episode 11. So let's just jump straight into the story. So as mentioned in the previous episode, in episode 10 that was, a fan obviously went onto the pitch during the Black Country derby between Birmingham and Aston Villa. The fan is an idiot. Let's just get it out there. Shouldn't have been on the pitch. That kind of behaviour should not be condoned, of course. Completely unacceptable in any environment within society, but the fan found himself on the pitch and punching Jack Grealish. My apologies. So the fan has been jailed for 14 weeks, which is quite a significant amount of time. Really, he's lost his liberty off a stupid act, a moment of pure stupidity, in my opinion. So a statement reads, or an article reads, a Birmingham City fan has been jailed for 14 weeks for attacking Aston Villa captain Jack Grealish during a second City derby. Paul Mitchell ran onto the pitch. That's his name, by the way, Paul Mitchell. He ran onto the pitch and hit Grealish from behind about 10 minutes into Sunday's game. Mitchell, 27, admitted assault and encroachment on the pitch at Birmingham Magistrates Court earlier. He said he cannot explain what came over him yesterday morning. His solicitor said his initial foolish intention was just to go on the pitch and whip up the crowd. Obviously, those intentions weren't actually realised. He ended up facing an absolute nightmare, ended up being jailed for 4 weeks. Mitchell was also ordered to pay £350 in fines and costs and has been banned from attending any football matches in the UK for 10 years. I believe he should be banned for life. £350 is not enough either as well, but he should certainly be banned for life. But that is certainly just a quick update on that whole situation. What an idiot. And Zidane returns to Real Madrid. So if you are listening on any platform that you're listening to, please do make sure that you do leave us a review, subscribe to the podcast. Once again, it's your host TC, and I'm out.